Oxford. Attention. Go.
Cambridge, who won last year's race by a decisive verdict of 3.5 lengths, obviously keen to maintain that sort of superiority, but Oxford determined to reverse the results, just as has been happening over the last several years. It's been interesting. Of all the boat races between these two universities, lightweight and heavyweight, it's the lightweight men's race where the result has oscillated from one city to another over the last few years. Well, Oxford not holding on to that advantage because the Cambridge momentum is gathering pace with every passing stroke. I currently have Oxford at 39 strokes a minute, Cambridge at a similarly high rate. They're at 40, so a pip higher, and in fact that extra rate has given them the edge, and so once again, if Oxford thought they were going to get into an early lead and stay in the lead, they're being proved incorrect on this occasion, because Cambridge really pounding it down, and such is the momentum that they've gained once they settle into their race pace that they've drawn almost half a length clear as we approach Revenant Club. So the Cambridge race now being witnessed by Richard Bates, the founder of this race 40 years ago. He's watching from the Enchantress launch, and I'm going to be having a word with him after the race to see how he thinks this race has developed, and whether he thinks that this race could have developed into such a fantastic spectacle after that first one 40 years ago. But that's all in the past. Right in the here and now, we see that Oxford are mounting a comeback, and Cambridge not being left entirely off the hook. It's the light blues who still have the higher rate of striking, a stronger sense of unity in that crew. Obviously they've had to drop their rate a little as they settle into the meat of the race. Cambridge I'd have now at 37 strokes a minute. A little wave of the flag from the umpire, but the crews had already responded almost before he raised his flag into the air, and Oxford are now a pip higher at 38 strokes a minute against Cambridge at 37, but right now they're not making that extra rate count as we move down to the halfway mark at Forley here in the 2015 lightweight men's race. And an air of grim determination I can see on the stroke man of the Cambridge crew there, Tom Chess, looking really laying down a very strong rhythm. Tom Chess, a Welshman from Swansea. He also rose out of the city of Swansea rowing club before arriving at Cambridge, and both crews being warned now. Are we going to see a little clash of blades here? We narrowly avoided that mishap in the women's race just half an hour ago, but Peter Knowles very busy indeed with that flag, continually warning back Cambridge back on station, and Cambridge finally respond. The flag is up again, and again Cambridge are being warned. Such pressure here. Both crews fighting it out for the best of the stream in the centre of the river as we now move past Revenant Farm, and another close race in prospect because Oxford are now pounding on and have closed the gap yet again. I think there's just under half a length in it, but really very little to choose. Are we going to see as close a finish as we saw in that fantastically close contest in the lightweight women's race? Once again, Peter Knowles raises his flag. Once again, it's Cambridge who have to move over. Once again, they respond to allow Oxford to move through. We are now directly behind those blades, but there's still an overlap. If Oxford were to really move on strongly, there would indeed be physical contact, and that is what the umpire is desperately keen to avoid. Cambridge now moving right away because they can see they've rounded the slight kink in the course at Forley, and the finish on Temple Island clearly in sight. And just as we saw in the women's race, The two crews now moved apart. There is a gap of some 6 feet between the tips of the opposing blades. Can they throw something at it? And yet again, it's Oxford who are mounting a challenge and are trying to move back strongly, really pushing it on. The Oxford stroke Robin Veal raises his rate. The 7 men behind him respond magnificently, but that pressure has closed the gap between the blades. Surely we are going to see physical contact unless the cockpit can respond to these repeated warnings from the umpire. But Cambridge maintain the advantage, just as they did in the women's race. And once again, it's Oxford being warned now. Oxford putting the opposition under such pressure, but failing to make ground on the Cambridge lead. 1/3 of a length in it. We are inside the last 100 metres of the 2015 lightweight men's race. Oxford are closing hard. Oxford take the race up at 40, and there's a canvas in it. Nothing to choose. There is a clash of blades. Finally, down on the line. The crews cross together.
Clash happened on the finish line. Let's go to